It's big, it's gorgeous, and it flies awesome, but it's discontinued? Hey there, I'm John. This is Two Brothers RC, and this is the E-flite P-51 Mustang 1.5 meter wingspan warbird. This is a beast of a plane. It's easily the best Mustang on the foam market, and I should know because I've flown quite a few of them. This bird is almost perfect, and I'd wager that it's probably gonna come back, since most discontinued Horizon airplanes do eventually find their way back from the void and return with a fresh set of paint and some useful smart tech upgrades. But regardless, maybe you've had your eye on one of these gorgeous planes, so let's dive into it and see how it stacks up to the no patent pending Two Brothers review system. Before we get into the maneuverability section, let's start by giving you my actual opinion of the E-flite Mustang. Horizon Hobby did send this over to me when I asked them to do it a few months ago. I'd wanted one of these for years, but never got around to asking for it until recently. I love it, full stop. Despite mine having a couple of minor issues, like the flap servos being just a little too small for the pockets they sit in, so I had to shim the flap servos with toothpicks to keep them firmly in place. It probably doesn't matter too much at this scale, I'm just really picky. The Mustang handles beautifully, and it's got a ton of power, which is so nice compared to every other Mustang that I've flown. Out of the 4 that I've flown so far, this is the only one that has the thrust-to-weight ratio that a Mustang should have. It flies like a fighter, it handles like a fighter, it lands like a fighter. It's a challenging airframe that looks incredible and will test your skills and make you a better pilot. In short, I love it. Let's run the Mustang through our warbird metrics, starting with maneuverability. First up, you don't need a gyro to fly this airframe. It'll fly just fine without one, just like the full-scale Mustang did back in World War II. However, it does benefit from having one installed, which is why Horizon ships it with AS3X out of the box. Now, I did upgrade my Mustang to AS3X Plus and reprogrammed it using throttle-based gains, so it uses lower gains at high speed and higher gains at lower speed. While it's certainly flyable without a gyro, it flies very well using the gyro setup I'll recommend toward the end of this vid, and that's a pass. It isn't prone to accelerated stalls, meaning that it's not going to drop a wing while you maneuver it. It's not hard to put into a stall, but it's not prone to them either. That's to be expected for pretty much any warbird. If you want to avoid stalling it, don't yank it around while maneuvering. Give it time to turn on its own, and it will. Force it to turn really fast, and it might bite you. That's a pass. Takeoff and landing are a struggle on this plane, and that's a fail. I don't find it particularly difficult to fly, take off, or land with, but the average pilot absolutely does. This Mustang is legendary for being one of the hardest planes to successfully take off and land with. Here's some examples that I've personally filmed over the previous year. The Mustang has a very powerful motor, and the aircraft's design makes it prone to pulling left very hard on takeoff, so getting a clean takeoff requires slowly advancing the throttle to get the tail flying while working the rudder if it starts to drift on the ground. You gotta be quick on it too, because if you throttle up too fast, or if it's too windy, or if it's Thursday at 4 p.m., or really any reason at all, it's gonna try and ground loop on you. So keep on that rudder and keep it tracking straight until it rotates, or fly from grass because that tends to help keep it tracking nicely. Landing is also just as tricky as takeoff, and I'm going to highly encourage you to throw your gyro gains to full on the approach to smooth it out. Because it's already a handful to land to begin with, you might as well make it easier and make it possible to fly it on the approach by controlling the descent with thrust versus stick input as you see on screen. The gyro gains make it fly like it's a bigger airplane, so it's not going to just fly itself down to the ground for you, you still have to do that. Definitely do take the time and practice touch and goes because this is one of the hardest planes to land, and when you do eventually feel like letting the tail settle down onto the runway, watch how I do it here and you should have the technique needed to succeed every time. Don't be afraid of the rudder. Not using it is what's going to land you in trouble. Control that tail and keep the plane flying all the way down to the moment the tail wheel touches. Anyhow, that's a lot of words to say this thing is a pain in the butt to take off and land with, thus it fails this checkpoint, despite it being a very scale feature of the Mustang. We're now looking for whether the Mustang has adequate thrust, and unlike every other Mustang that I've flown, this one has gobs of it. Thrust is not an issue. You don't need 2/3 of the left stick to keep the plane on the approach without stalling like pretty much every other Mustang I've flown. This one has got plenty of power. That's easily my favorite part of this Mustang and it passes no problem. Stall recovery, likewise, is no problem either. I intentionally flew this plane like a 3D plane in some regards and had zero issues bringing it out of any tumbles or other weirdness that I put it into. I know some of this footage is triggering the types who think, I didn't come here to watch warbirds do 3D, despite knowing what channel they're actually watching, so hey, you do you, champ. That's a pass for the Mustang and it earns a 4 out of 5 as a result. Moving on to flight time, the Mustang doesn't give up anything to have such a powerful motor installed in it. I was able to hit 7 minutes easily with mixed throttle flying on Spectrum 5000 lipos. It's very efficient and easy on batteries, yet still very powerful and fun to fly. They really hit this one out of the park. That's a 5 out of 5 in this category. Moving on to landing gear. The wheels are functional, which is great, albeit a very low bar. That's a pass. The wheels are hard plastic, which is unfortunate, and that's a fail. For you newer types watching the channel for the first time, the reason why we fail hard wheels is because they transfer all the force of landing directly to the fuselage mounts. The suspension system that the Mustang does have is nice, though it only really does anything when the plane is landing on the mains and not in a 3-point attitude. Still, that's a pass for the suspension. The gear does require low maintenance. I couldn't spot any issues with it even with my silly last-second gear drops before touching down. That's a pass. The gear also worked flawless over the 20 or so flights I put this thing through to test it for you, which earns the Mustang a 4 out of 5 in this category. Before we move on, scroll down a little and hit that like button for me. If you're not already subscribed, smash that like. And if you're not part of our Discord chat server community yet, hop down to the description below to join up and chat airplanes with us. Moving on to fit and finish, let's check out the quality of the paint, foam, decals, and hinges. First up, the paint was immaculate. It looked awesome, no complaints here. That's a pass. The foam was also likewise very high quality, and that's also a pass. The Mustang features gapless aileron hinges, a gapless rudder hinge, and a foam elevator hinge. I'm not sure why the elevator itself is foam hinged, but it held up to the abuse I put it through, so we'll give it a pass since most of it is gapless hinged. The decals appear to be well designed. Instead of being kiss-cut stickers, which means they would have a colored outline, these decals are cut to shape and don't have any visible overlap that would cover up the intricate foam detailing present in the model. I'll call that a pass too. The battery gets airflow from the air intakes in the nose, which scoots through the fuselage, through the oil cooler and the belly, giving the Mustang a 5 out of 5 here. Our last section is avionics and lighting, and here we're looking at the quality of the installed electrical components like servos, the ESC, lighting, and so forth. First up, the servos are half and half. The rudder and elevator are metal, the ailerons and flaps are plastic. I personally feel that a plane this heavy should have all metal servos, especially in the ailerons and flaps, but the P-51 did hold up to what I forced it to endure, so the stock servos are definitely still good. I just prefer metal, and unfortunately that is a fail. The ESC is a Spectrum 100 amp Avion unit that had zero issues with overheating at all. This ESC is very powerful and large enough to dissipate heat on its own, and the load being placed on it isn't anywhere near close enough to straining it, so that's a pass. It does contain lighting, and the lighting is correct. It features a port and starboard light, both in the left and right wing respectively. I'd love to see landing lights on this plane, but I totally get why they weren't added. That's additional weight and complexity. That's a pass. The servos are all easy to replace as they're installed using servo boxes, meaning that you simply unscrew the plastic cover holding the servo in place and replace it with your own if something happens or if you just wanted a better servo to fly with. That's a pass too. The motor mount appears to be very well designed, considering I've seen plenty of people prop strike this thing and it still flies like it wasn't just kamikazed into the ground. That's a pass, and the Mustang earns a 4 out of 5 here. Before we move on to the overall scoring, here's the gyro gains that I used. These gains are throttle based, meaning that you need to follow the NX radio tutorial or AS3X Plus tutorials linked below, which cover how to set it up. If anything is confusing, hop on Discord via discord.gg/2brosrc and ask for help in the Tech and Setup channel. These gains make the Mustang very stable overall, but still make it feel kinda like an old-fashioned stick and rudder aircraft, which is what it is and where it shines, and rightly so. The overall score for the E-flite Mustang is a solid 22 out of 25. There's a couple of nitpicks here and there, but the aircraft is overall very well built, flies amazing, and is totally worth the price. In the potential event that a version 2 Mustang ever releases, I can safely guess that this video will still be relevant because I can't imagine them changing too much, though who knows? I certainly don't. If you can find this Mustang in your local hobby shop, please pick it up there and support local if you can. There's no affiliate link here because, once more, this plane is discontinued at the moment. Sucks for me, guess I'm missing out on all those sweet shill dollars I'm accused of hoarding like a dragon. Huge thanks goes out to our channel members on 2brosrc.com/supporters, and a very special thanks goes out to our mega fans, Sarasota RC Squadron, Michael Smith, JR Man, Todd, N411X, and Jeff Baker, along with our ultra fan, TBRC fan. You guys kick so much ass. Coming up soon will be the FMS Beaver 800mm review vid. In a departure from our usual voiceover style, the Beaver vid actually goes back to our roots and features live voiceover. Yeah, I know, cringe, right? Because I anticipated that FMS would have released it on time, but they didn't, so I'm not gonna reshoot it. See you guys next week.
Care for being told how to fly by any manufacturer. Not that there's anything wrong with their setups, it's just I'm very, very picky about how something should be set up for my personal preferences.